Commander Zix-9 of the Galactic Survey Corps stared at the holographic display with barely concealed disgust. The planet designated Sol 3 rotated slowly before him, its blue and green surface marred by swirling white clouds that seemed to move with chaotic violence. Planetary classification. Extreme hazard, he dictated to his recording unit. Atmospheric disturbances reach Category 12 severity. Tectonic instability causes regular surface ruptures. Magnetic field fluctuations exceed safe parameters by 300%. Water coverage results in massive thermal variations. Recommendation: quarantine indefinitely. Zix-9 had surveyed over 2,000 worlds in his career, but none had exhibited such catastrophic environmental chaos. The planet's very existence seemed to defy galactic standards for habitability. Most concerning of all were the energy signatures, indicating not just life, but intelligent life somehow thriving in this maelstrom. "Sir," his aide, Kef-2, approached hesitantly. "The High Council requests a detailed assessment of the indigenous species." Zix-9's tentacles curled in frustration. On that death trap, any species surviving there must be primitive savages, barely clinging to existence. 3 months later, Zix-9 found himself eating those words as he stood on the bridge of his research vessel watching impossible scenes unfold on his monitors. The creatures called themselves humans, and they were unlike anything in the galactic database. While other species fled from natural disasters, humans ran toward them. They had developed specialized professions around catastrophe. Storm chasers, who pursued atmospheric disturbances for scientific study, volcanologists who lived near active thermal vents, seismologists who studied the very tectonic violence that should have driven them extinct. "Show me the footage from the hurricane zone again," Zix-9 commanded, his voice tight with disbelief. The screen filled with images of humans in primitive flying machines deliberately entering the most violent atmospheric disturbance on record. Instead of fleeing, they collected data, rescued other humans, and emerged with detailed scientific reports that advanced their understanding of meteorology by decades. Kef-2 pulled up another file. "Sir, you should see what they call extreme sports. They deliberately place themselves in life-threatening situations for recreation." Zix-9 watched in stunned silence as humans threw themselves from aircraft without propulsion, scaled vertical rock faces using only their appendages, and rode waves of water that could crush a Zentorian battlecruiser. They called it fun. But it was the historical records that truly shattered Zix-9's worldview. Humanity had not simply survived their unstable world, they had been forged by it. Every disaster that should have destroyed them instead became a catalyst for innovation. Volcanic eruptions led to advances in material science. Earthquakes drove architectural breakthroughs. Hurricanes spawned meteorological mastery. Floods created engineering marvels. "Commander," Kef-2's voice carried an edge of awe, "they've weaponized their planet's instability." The tactical assessment made Zix-9's blood run cold. Human military doctrine incorporated environmental chaos as a strategic advantage. They fought battles in conditions that would incapacitate any other known species. Their soldiers trained in Arctic wastelands, scorching deserts, and hurricane-force winds. They had turned their planet's hostility into the ultimate defensive advantage. When the hegemony invasion fleet arrived at Sol 3, they expected to face terrified primitives cowering from their environment. Instead, they encountered a species that had spent millennia learning to dance with disaster. The first wave of hegemony shock troops landed during what humans casually called tornado season. Atmospheric disturbances that registered as weapons grade, environmental hazards to galactic forces were considered minor weather events by local inhabitants. Human defenders used the storms as cover, moving through conditions that grounded enemy aircraft and disrupted communications. The second wave arrived during earthquake weather along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Hegemony forces trained on stable worlds couldn't maintain footing during seismic events that humans navigated with practiced ease. Human cities, built to flex and adapt, remained functional while alien installations crumbled. By the third wave, Hegemony Command realized they faced something unprecedented. a species that had achieved perfect symbiosis with chaos itself. Zix-9 received the battlefield reports with growing amazement. Humans didn't just survive in impossible conditions, they thrived in them. Their athletes broke physiological barriers that galactic science declared absolute. Their explorers ventured into environments that required atmosphere suits on stable worlds, doing so with primitive equipment and sheer determination. The final report from Admiral Korth Prime of the Hegemony Fleet was brief. Recommendation: immediate withdrawal, species designation, apex predators, planet reclassification, fortress world. Standing in his observatory, watching Earth's latest hurricane dissipate harmlessly over the Atlantic, Zix-9 finally understood. The galaxy had produced species adapted to stability, predictability, and controlled environments. But Earth had produced something else entirely, a species adapted to adapt. Humans had turned their world's greatest weakness into its greatest strength. Every disaster had taught them resilience. Every catastrophe had bred innovation. Every impossible challenge had forged them into something the galaxy had never seen, a species that grew stronger under pressure. Zix-9 updated his final report. Species humanity. Status: do not engage. Reason: they turned chaos into their greatest weapon. As his ship departed Sol 3, Zix-9 took one last look at the blue marble spinning in the void. The galaxy had called it unstable, but humanity had called it home, and made the difference between those two perspectives into the foundation of their unprecedented strength. The unstable world had created the most stable species in the galaxy, one that could adapt to anything.